Hello everyone, how are you all? Children, last week we had started with a new chapter, The Butterfly Mountain's Shadow. It is written by Tara Datta, and in this chapter she is describing her visit to Sri Lanka. During her visit she went to a mountain which was named Adam's Peak, and when she had started her trek towards the mountain from the base, after walking for 2 hours, she got tired. She was sweating profusely. She was sweating a lot, and people had told them, because she was not alone there, she was with her 4 friends, and people had told them that sunrise at mountain top at Adam's Peak was a beautiful sight, and in order to reach there at the time, they started at midnight, and after walking for 2 hours they stopped for rest. Now where they were resting, from there when they looked towards the Adam Peak, they could see that the path that led to the Adam's Peak was all well lit up, and after reaching the top of the peak, the light seemed to disappear, so that was giving an illusion of a stairway which was climbing towards the heaven. So that is the reason why Adam's Peak is also called Swarg Rohanam. That is, the climb to Adam's Peak is also called as Swarg Rohanam, because the path which leads to the top of the mountain, it gives the impression, or it gives that illusion that it is going to heaven. Okay, so when she starts her trek from the base, she soon realizes that her climb to Adam's Peak, to the top of the Adam's Peak, will not be an easy one, because the whole path was made up of stairs, and it was a vertical stair. It was not a very gradual climb, but it was a very vertical climb, and it was the first time that she was climbing such a steep climb, and that made her realize that it is not an easy task, and it will need a lot of grit, lot of will for her and her friends to reach the top of the mountain well before the sunrise. Okay, so she also tells us that Adam's Peak is also called Shri Pada by the Buddhist people, because they believe that the footprint near the cave at the top of the mountain is that of Gautam Buddha. The Indian people call it Shiv Padam, because they believe that footprint is of Lord Shiva, while Muslims and Christians believe that the footprint is of Adam, and that is why they have because Sri Lanka as such is mostly a Muslim country, and there are a certain percentage of population is also Christian, so that is why that name is given. The Adam name is given to that mountain top, and that is why it is called Adam's Peak. Now the narrator also tells us, Tara also tells us, that besides these names, the Adam's Peak is also called Samanalakanda, because it is a migration point for many butterflies, and it is believed that more than 60 species of butterflies come to this mountain between December and May. Okay, and while on their journey from the plain areas of Sri Lanka towards this mountain, they stop for mud puddling. Now mud puddling is a practice which is done by insects and many animals. What they do is they go to small puddles of water. Okay, and there they they try to absorb salts and minerals, to try to nourish themselves from the wet soil. Okay, so till here we had read last week, and now we'll continue with the remaining part of the chapter. Sri Lanka, known as the Emerald Isle because of its lush greenery, is home to nearly 250 species of butterflies that feed and breed among the leafy trees and beautiful flowering plants. Adam's Peak, too, is covered with greenery and is one of the tallest mountains in the island country. Okay, the narrator also tells us that Sri Lanka is also called an Emerald Island. Now, emerald is a semi-precious stone. If you have, I don't know whether you have seen it or not, it's called panna in English, in Hindi. Okay, now many of us like Indian people, we believe in, birthstones. Like we have a garnet, we have a pukhraj. Similarly, there's a semi-precious stone called emerald, which in Hindi means panna. It is green in color. So Sri Lanka is also called Emerald Isle. Emerald Isle. Why? Because it is full of greenery, and because of this very reason, it is called Emerald Isle. And because you can find trees everywhere in Sri Lanka with beautiful plants, many species of butterfly come in this island every year to feed and to breed. Breed is to multiply, to increase their population. And Adams Peak is also one such place which is covered with greenery, and it is also one of the tallest mountains in the island country of Sri Lanka. Standing on its own, a little away from the other hill ranges of the area, it looks like a massive cone pointing to the sky. The pilgrim's path along the mountain's side is made up of thousands of stairs, and it takes about 5 hours to reach the peak. Now, Adams Peak is slightly, away from the other ranges of the area. There are other mountains also, but when you look at Adams Peak, it seems as if it is a cone sort of a structure which is pointing towards the sky. And the path that leads to the top of the mountain is made up of stairs, not one or two, but there are thousands of stairs which leads the pilgrims to the top of the mountain, and it takes about 5 hours to reach the Adams Peak top. From the base to about the midpoint, the slope was relatively less steep than the upper half. Yet in just 2 hours, I was completely tired out, wondering how I would ever get to the top. Thankfully, there were small tea shops along the way for weary trekkers like me to rest for a while and revive after a sweet drink and snack. So when one starts walking towards the Adams Peak, they have to climb a path. Okay, they have to climb a slope. Now the first half of the slope, from the base when they start till the midpoint, the slope, or you can say the climb, is a gradual climb. It's not a very a sharp and a steep climb. It is very slow gradual climb. But once you reach the midpoint, from the midpoint the stairs are almost vertical. It's like a very vertical, very straight climb, and it's very tiresome. So when she started climbing, when Tara and her friends started climbing, they were like almost tired by the time they were halfway, they were midway. And then she started wondering how she would ever be able to reach to the top of the mountain. But after every few after a few distance, there were small shops of there were small tea shops. So whenever they used to get tired, they used to go to the nearest tea stall, and there they used to have a cup of tea, and they would again feel energized, and they would again start walking towards the top. So that is how they were able to carry on with their trek towards the Adams Peak. As my companions and I inched our way up the steps, the first pre-dawn light brought a beautiful misty glow all around. The final climb to reach the small shrine over the sacred stone at the peak was the most strenuous part. So the narrator Tara and her friends were almost at the top of the mountain. They were not exactly at the top of mountain, but they were almost very near to that place when the first, pre-dawn light, the first light. Pre-dawn means before the morning light. A very light misty glow was there all around the mountain, and the when from there, when they looked at the remaining part of the journey which they had to cover, they realized that it was going to be a very tiresome, very strenuous part of their journey. The path became dangerously narrow, and the stairs were almost vertical, like a ladder with strong chains and railings to hold on to. It was packed tight with people, shoulder to shoulder, all in a hurry to reach quickly so as to not miss the first rays of the sunrise and to pray at the shrine. Why? Because the final steps that were leading to the top of the mountain was a very vertical climb. It was like a ladder. Okay, now when you walk on a ladder, it's a very straight climb. So those steps were very vertical, very straight, and chains were railings were there on the sides to help the trekkers to hold on to. The trekkers were able to hold on to the railings and the chains because of it was built there to give a protection to protect people from falling down, because it was still steep climb and people do get tired when they have to climb for a very long time. And in order to avoid any kind of mishappenings, railings and chains were also there so that people could hold on to them and continue with their climb. And that place, that final climb was fully crowded. There were many people, and they were standing so close to each other that their shoulders were rubbing against each other. And none of the travelers or none of the pilgrims wanted to miss that beautiful sunrise. So everybody was in a hurry to reach to the top of the mountain to witness that beautiful sight, as well as to pray at the shrine. Almost carried by the flow of the crowd, we suddenly found ourselves at the very top. The sky was a brilliant kaleidoscope of changing colors, from the most delicate blue to vivid shades of orange, as the sun emerged above distant hills in the east. So Tara and her friends, they started their final ascent, final climb to the mountain top, and because there were a lot of people, they never came to know. With the flow of the crowd, people were moving on towards the mountain top, and with the crowd they also kept on moving, and within no time they were at the top of the mountain. So when they reached there, what did they see? They saw that because the dawn had started, the morning light was there, the sky was full of appearing like a brilliant kaleidoscope. Now, what is a kaleidoscope? Kaleidoscope is a design of pattern that keeps on changing. Why the sky is referred to as a kaleidoscope? Because with the emerging sunlight, the color of the sky was changing. One moment it was light blue, and suddenly then the next moment it changed into shades of orange as the sun emerged from behind the hills which were in the east at a distance. I stood mesmerized by the breathtaking view till a tap on my shoulder reminded me to look in the opposite direction, where there was another amazing spectacle. A huge shadow was beginning to appear high up on the western sky. Tara was looking at that, at that scene, that morning's sunrise, and she was mesmerized. She was fascinated with these changing colors of the sky, and she was so engrossed in it that she suddenly came to her senses when somebody tapped on her shoulder. Tapped like somebody did like this. Somebody tapped on her shoulder and told her to look in the opposite direction. Okay, and when she looked at the opposite direction, what did she see? She saw that a huge shadow was beginning to appear high up in the western sky. Because it was misty, the sky was full of mist. So in the mist, they could see a shadow which was begin to form. It was a perfect triangle that looked as if it had been projected onto an enormous screen in the sky, formed by the mist and clouds to the west of the mountain. It was the shadow of Adam's Peak, the very mountain we were standing on. Now, what was that shadow? That shadow was actually the shadow of the Adam's Peak. Now, that means Adam's Peak, the sun which was rising from the hill, the Adam's Peak was in front of that. And when the sun kept on, when the sun kept on rising high and high, the shadow of the Adam's Peak was falling on the cloud that was formed of mist. Okay, so that shadow was actually the shadow of Adam's Peak, the very mountain on which the narrator and her friends were standing. This is an optical phenomena that happens just as the sun emerges from the horizon, and as it raises higher, the shadow moves downwards. It was a fleeting sight which appeared like magic and quickly disappeared as the mists dissolved in the bright morning daylight. And she says that it was an optical phenomena, something that looks very different from what it really is because of the way it reflects light. Why it happens, why that shadow of Adam's Peak one can see? It happens because the sun emerges from the horizon, from the very far end of the horizon, and as it rises high, the shadow of the Adam's Peak, it starts going downwards. Okay, and it was that shadow of Adam's Peak was visible for a very short span of time, and therefore it appeared magical, and it quickly disappeared because when the sun came high up in the sky, the mist dissolved and the morning daylight was there. So the mist vanished. As a result, the shadow which was forming on the misty clouds also disappeared. So it gave that optical illusion. It appeared so magical to everyone. After visiting the shrine with the holy footprint, we began our long downward trek. My legs ached and my knees felt like jelly. But my heart and mind were filled with the ethereal vision of the shadow of Adam's Peak, the lovely green hills all around, and the flocks of butterflies that passed by on their journey to the Butterfly Mountain, Samanalakanda. So after seeing that beautiful sunrise, the author and her friends moved on towards the shrine where they prayed. They paid their respect. They prayed there for a few moments, and then they went back on their downward trek. Then they started going back towards the base of the mountain from where they had actually started their journey. And because they had been walking for almost 5 hours, and even though they had rested at the top of the mountain for quite some time, but when they started going down again, her legs were tired and it felt like jelly. Jelly, because that means, what is jelly? You all have eaten jelly. Jelly, it's like a very gelatinous thing, and it keeps on moving. It wobbles. So here the legs feel like jelly means like when her legs were so tired that when she started her trek downwards, it was little shaky like a jelly. But though she was tired, that beauty of nature, that natural beauty which surrounded her, the beautiful butterflies which she witnessed, coming towards, the Adams Peak, the lush greenery all around their journey to that mountain. Everything was very, surreal in her mind. It was it was a memory that she would always cherish in her heart, and it will always be there in her mind, that impression, that beauty of nature, that beautiful nature, the beautiful mountain, the beautiful, you know um, morning sunrise, everything that she witnessed while going towards the Adams Peak or while coming back, that was like imprinted on her mind, and she could never ever forget what she saw while going towards the Adams Peak, which was also called Butterfly Mountain, Samanalakanda. Okay, so that's it. So it was a very beautiful description, a narration of her journey. And many times, many people can't travel the world, and when you go through these kinds of narrative, stories or descriptive stories, you feel as if you yourself are there. Okay, so the way Tara has described the journey, it makes us feel as if we are also there. We are also one of the pilgrims who are going, who is going towards the Adams Peak to witness that beautiful sunrise.